Coming to you direct from Silencer Shop Studios, home of the Glass Case of Emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
All right, welcome back to Tuesday's show, Student of the Gun Radio. I am the pimp hand of America, and I'm ready to get on it. I hope that you are ready to listen. If you're not ready to listen, hit pause and then come back again when you're ready. How's that sound? Does that work for you? All right. We've got a continuing series that we're going to do all week. It's a Student of the Gun University special, and congratulations because you have been admitted. You've received admission to this. You're going to audit the class. Think about it like that. You get to audit the class for free. It costs you nothing. How lucky are you? You know what I decided we needed to do, Jared, when we do our live training and you respond to people? I think it needs to be, you need to respond from the admissions department at Student of the Gun University. Oh, yeah. Why not? I mean, that's what we are. We're an institution of learning and education, so we have an admissions department. And if you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, congratulations to you because you made the cut. How cool is that? All right. We're going to get right into it, but before we do that, we're going to thank our friends at Century Arms, the sweetest smelling arms maker in the United States of America. And I know some of you are out there, you're snatching up the C39 V2s and the TP9 SAs and all the other TP9s. Congratulations to you. Duracoat, because life is too short to have an ugly gun. If you want to see pictures of colored guns, you can go to our Instagram or our Facebook or our Gun District page, and you can see those and treat your eyes to that. Brownells. And Brownells has, well, they have Duracoat products. You can pick them up there. They've got ammo on sale. They have all kinds of neat stuff. But pretty much anything that you would want to put in your gun or on your gun or attached to a gun, you can get at Brownells. Even if it's not gun-related, you can get it there too. And you want to make sure that you're signed up for their newsletter because they run specials pretty much every single week.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a free training video series called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. We want you to have access to this life-saving information. Get instant access now at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of those questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
All right. SWAT Fuel. What? SWAT what? SWAT Fuel. It does a body good. Special weapons and tactics for body. Or sharper minds, stronger bodies. SWAT Fuel. Now, the February promo code is over because it is no longer February. But if you go to SWATfuelstore.com, that's correct. I almost said SWAT Fuel Gear. If you go to SWATfuelstore.com and you use the promo code SOTG, 2015, you're going to save yourself 10% off your total order, and that is righteous. Frog Lube, it just works. Put it on your guns, put it on your knives. I had something recently I thought that I could put Frog Lube on. It was a new use for Frog Lube, and doggone it, I can't remember what it was now. It's right there on the tip of my tongue, on the edge of my brain. What was I going to use Frog Lube for? I know.
To put on your nose and on an airplane when there's French people next to you?
No. You need Vaseline or Vicks Vapor Rub for that. But to cool drill bits and saw blades. You know when you're cutting metal, if you cut metal with a saw, like a bandsaw, or you're drilling through metal, how you need to put some oil on that? And squirt some Frog Lube in there. Why not? Crossbreed holsters, I am wearing one right now. I'm actually wearing the Bruce Jenner commemorative, also known as the Super Tuck Deluxe. And if you're not carrying a gun because your holster is uncomfortable, you can fix yourself by going to crossbreedholsters.com. Now, I mentioned the promo code from SWAT Fuel earlier, and that made me think about something. Jared has been working behind the scenes with another friend of ours, and it looks like we're going to have another promo code for you.
I can't tell you who it is yet.
No, we can't tell you who it is yet. I wasn't going to say. I know you give me the don't tell them. Don't let them know. No, it's when you hear it, you'll be excited.
Yeah.
So.
And obviously, we'll release it to the grad program.
Yeah,
first.
we'll release it to the grad program first, and they will know, and we'll go from there. All right. This week on Student of the Gun University, Student of the Gun Radio, we are discussing The Art of War by Sun Tzu, specifically the Stephen F. Kaufman edition. And we're still in book number 1. Yesterday we talked about the fact that conflict is essential for growth in man and society. Think about World War II. I know you guys are like, what? That was like 1,000 years ago. Well, actually, it wasn't 1,000 years ago. It was about 70 years ago. But the fact of the matter is this. We fought a two-front war. Europe and Asia. Okay, I know a lot of you guys went to public school and you don't know this. And we wrapped it up in just under 5 years. And what that did was that issued in an era of prosperity that I don't think has been doubled or has been repeated since then. The 1950s in America was a tremendous time for the United States. All the troopers, they came back, they had families, they went to work, they built highways, they went to college, and the economy was just booming and roaring, and it was a great time to be an American. And unfortunately, what happened, though, was the veterans, the World War II veterans, because they grew up during the Great Depression, my grandfather and grandmother and so forth, they grew up in the 30s during the Depression. They fought World War II during the 40s. And then by the time the 50s came along and they started having kids, they thought, I want to make sure my kids have everything. I want to make sure that they have, everything they want to eat. And they spoiled their children. And their children became the 60s hippie generation. And now we are paying for that as the hippies age and bring this socialism nonsense with them. But what we're going to talk about today, and we're still in book number 1. I got a quote from book 1. It says, war does not permit faltering personal belief. Never seek to assuage the non-sympathetic in an attempt to convert them to your way of thinking. Empathy will be seen as a sign of weakness amongst your loyal followers. Men who do not follow instructions can never lead as commanders. They serve no purpose other than to use up valuable resources and create dissension. Dispose of them. All right, let's talk about that for a second. War does not permit faltering personal belief. Never seek to assuage the non-sympathetic in an attempt to convert them to your way of thinking. You say, Paul, I'm not fighting a war. I live my life. We're living our lives as Americans. Even though there has been war declared against us, we're still pretending as a nation that it doesn't exist. I don't understand what this is for. Well, all right, if you're a pro-gun person, you're a gun lover, and you believe not only in the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, but that whole Bill of Rights thing that really matters to you. How many times have you heard from the reasonable people out there? And they're there. The reasonable people look at you, whether you're a guy or a girl, and they say, "You're just too extremist. You're just too hard, or you're inflexible." That's what they'll tell you. You're just inflexible. You need to compromise. You need to understand that this world is all about compromise. We hear this all the time. Every election cycle, not every 4 years, every 2 years, when there's a slight shakeup in Washington, D.C., what do they say? What do they tell us? The talking heads get on the news, and especially if Republicans or conservatives appear to have won. What do they say? What are they really super concerned about? In 2010 and 2014, what were they when the Republicans took back majorities in the House and the Senate? What were they real concerned about? Compromise. Well, I think the big question here is when the Republican majority, when they take over the next session of Congress, will they be ready and willing to compromise? And on our side, the people who voted them in, we're scratching our heads. We're like, we didn't elect these turds to go back to Congress and make bargains with the losers. Can you imagine that? Anywhere else in the world, any other forum, the Japanese, now that they've surrendered, the first thing that the Japanese prime minister wants to know is, are the Americans ready and willing to compromise on their victory? The German council wants to know if the Americans and the Allies are ready to come to the table and compromise with them. No, we just defeated you. We're not here to compromise with you. But in today's world, you're convinced, or they attempt to convince you that being an absolute winner is wrong. Being inflexible is wrong. Standing by your beliefs without compromising them is wrong. You need to compromise. You need to massage and assuage your beliefs, because you don't understand, Paul. Your inflexible stance, well, that turns people off. You pro-gun people, you're just not willing to give. You're not willing to compromise. And if you pro-gun people want more people to get on your side, then you be willing to compromise. So what you're telling me there, Mr. Reasonable Person, is that if I alter my positions, if I alter my viewpoints, if I soften my stance, then more people will join my team. Yeah, that'll be great. Wouldn't that be wonderful if you pro-gun people could bring more Americans into your pro-gun camp? But isn't that like, a bait and switch, or isn't that like used car sales? If I change my tone, if I soften it, if I'm willing to compromise just so that I can get you to like me, do you really like me for who I am? Are you really down with the struggle, or are you there because I sold it to you? Are you there because, well, I wasn't going to join your team before, but now that you've altered your beliefs and that you've softened them and that you've come forth and shown me that you're willing to be reasonable, well, I'll join your team now. So when things get hard, when things get difficult, when it's not cool to be a gun owner anymore, all these people that joined your team when you changed your stance or became reasonable, or are they still going to be there with you? Are they hardcore fighters? Are they winter soldiers? Or as soon as the wind turns cold and it's not hip to be square anymore, it's not hip to be a gun owner, are they still going to be with you? Or are they going to fold like a house of cards and they're going to be gone? Think about it like this. In your life, you have a life. And if you're listening to me, even if you don't consider yourself a hardcore Second Amendment supporter, or maybe you're just an occasional shooter, or you own a gun, or you're thinking about it, or whatever. After every big media shame campaign, there's a shooting somewhere in a movie theater or church or a school or whatever. And the big media goes out and they shame gun owners. If you'd only be willing to compromise, if you hardcore extremists would have only been willing to compromise and buy off on universal background checks and magazine restrictions and blah, 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 that killing, that slaughter wouldn't have happened. It's your fault. And all of your Johnny-come-lately gun owner friends who are like, oh, I'm a gun owner. Yeah. Well, I'm a proud liberal Democrat union member gun owner. How many of those people, when the pressure got hot, just shut up about it? How many of those people boldly went out and exclaimed that they were proud gun owners after the Sandy Hook, after the Aurora Theater, after the church in South Carolina? How many of those people went out and proudly said, I am a gun owner, and I'm a proud gun owner, I'm a proud Second Amendment supporter, and I don't want to hear your crap, CNN, MSNBC, et al.? Or, conversely, how many of them stopped talking about it? Kind of like, well, yeah, my wife and I, we have a gun in the house, but we don't talk about it. We don't tell people. We don't want people to think that we're extremists. What good does it do to have 5 million people on your team if 3 million of those people will fade away the instant things get tough? And what else does Sun Tzu advise us? He advises us to be careful, because when you seek to assuage the non-sympathetic in an attempt to convert them to your way of thinking, what do? Well, you alienate your loyal followers. Sun Tzu says, empathy will be seen as a sign of weakness amongst your loyal followers. So the people that have been there with you the whole time, they're like, I was there with you when it was easy. I was there with you when it was hard. I've been there this whole time. I am a true believer. And now you are changing your stance, or you're softening it in order to gain more votes or get more people, or like win the popularity contest. Ladies and gentlemen, the defense of the Constitution of the United States of America is not a popularity contest. And that's unfortunately what many people think it is. Well, Paul, we've got to get a majority of Americans behind us. You don't understand. We have to show them that we can be flexible, that we can be open, that we can embrace them. Blah 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 blah. Why? What good does it do me? Does it do us to court weak people? We talked about this previously during a previous episode. Jared, remember we talked about the Iraqi army, and the entire time, the lead up during Desert Shield, the Desert Storm, and the MSNBC and Newsweek and Time and they couldn't stop talking about how Saddam Hussein had the 4th largest army in the world, and how are we going to contend with them? He has so many tanks and cannons and men and da 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 da. And, it's just going to be terrible. It's just going to be, and they were predicting massive casualties on the Allied side and so forth, because he has so many people.
What was your analogy? Would you rather have?
I would rather have quality.
Yeah,
over
but you
quantity.
Said 10,000 recruits or 1,000 Green Berets.
Yeah, would you rather have 10,000 recruits or 1,000 Green Berets?
I, myself, would rather have 1,000 Green Berets. I would prefer 500 Green Berets over 10,000 recruits.
Yeah. So, folks, quit worrying about numbers. Quit worrying about, if the majority of Americans don't agree with us, then, do you believe that your rights, that your inalienable rights, do you believe that you only have them, that they only apply if you're in the majority?
I would say this is not a democracy.
Yeah, this is not a democracy. This is a representative republic. Read the freaking Constitution. Read the Bill of Rights. Read the Declaration of Independence. Those documents were based around the concept of individual liberty. Not, you can have rights as long as you can convince everybody else to be on your side. As long as you can figure out a way to be in the majority, then you can have rights. But if at some point in time your opinion, your feeling, your desires are no longer in the majority, then they don't count anymore. Folks, that's the way the world was 200, 300, 400 years ago. That's the way the world is today in many places. But the geniuses that we were blessed with, that became our founding fathers, they understood that individual humans need to be protected. They need to have protections. That it doesn't matter whether or not you're in the majority. That inalienable rights always apply. It literally means this. If you have an inalienable right, it doesn't matter if you are the only one that has your belief or holds on to that. If 1,000 other people don't, you still maintain that right. And that is what we don't get as a society today. We've been convinced, and you are hammered day in and day out by what supposedly is news. It's really just propaganda. On the internet, on the television, whatever, that all you extremists, the word extremist is bad. It's a bad word. That means you're not willing to compromise. And that's the only way things get done in Washington is through compromise. Well, I'm here to tell you that I think way too much is getting done in Washington. How about that? If you take nothing else from this lesson from The Art of War, it is stand by your beliefs. Now, you have to understand what those are. You actually have to have beliefs to stand by them. And that's another problem that we're dealing with as a society. We have people that don't even know what they believe in because they've been schooled that if you have a hard belief or a serious belief, that you're a bigot. The only people that have hardcore beliefs, the only people that are intractable are racists and bigots. And if you hold on to your faith, well, then you're an extremist. And extremists are bad. If you believe that the Constitution of the United States of America is the founding document and the guideline to individual liberty and freedom, if you believe that in your heart of hearts, what do they say? You're a radical. You're one of these pro-Constitution radicals. Oh, we got to watch out for these pro-Constitution extremists. Every day, you're told that if you hold serious, hardcore beliefs, that you're wrong. And so what is the natural human reaction? Well, the natural human reaction is to not do that. It's like, well, I have my beliefs, but I don't really talk about them because I don't want people to think I'm an extremist. I don't want people to think I'm closed-minded. Closed-minded is a key word that the hippie liberal progressives use to try and get you to not hold to your beliefs. Like, oh, you're not willing to compromise and change what you believe in? Huh, you're closed-minded. Oh, no, the liberals called me closed-minded. Oh, I can't live with myself if a progressive liberal piece of human filth thinks I'm closed-minded. Oh. All right, what is our lesson today from Sun Tzu here at Student of the Gun University? And you're welcome for the free lesson. It is stand by your beliefs. You're not going to gain true followers by modifying your beliefs every time the wind blows. All right. Now, it is Tuesday, and because it's Tuesday, we always have some special time for you guys out there in the audience. All right. It's time for Quiet Time, brought to you by silencershop.com. Check them out. Easiest way to buy silencers online. Period. Full stop. End of sentence. Today on Quiet Time, I want to talk to you about meditation. Oh, Paul, you just lost me. I thought that you were a hardcore, pipe-hitting, meat-eating, caffeine-drinking, cigar-smoking man. And you're going to talk to me about meditation? But that's only what hippie granola eaters do. No. The samurai meditated. Tell me how the samurai are hippie granola eaters right after they cut your head off. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are a hardcore pipe-hitting, meat-eater, caffeine-drinking, cigar-smoking, adult beverage-consuming man or woman, at some point in time you need to relax. And I don't just mean relax your body. You need to relax your mind, because you cannot allow your mind to go in fifth gear all the time. What happens if you redline your engine? You're like, man, my engine, I've got a good car. I've got a Mustang 5.0, and that sucker, the speedometer goes to 140, and I'm sure it goes faster than that. And I go fast. That's cool. You can go fast. What happens to that engine if you redline that engine without letting off? What's going to happen? Well, it's not going to work out well for you, right? It's going to overheat. In today's world, in our world today, if you pay attention, if you actually care about the future of the country, if you care about your family's future, it's hard to care, because that means you have to pay attention to what's going on in the world around you. It's easy just to check out. I'm sure a lot of your coworkers and friends and family, they've checked out. They don't even pay attention. They're more worried about who's going to get a Grammy this year or who's going to get an Oscar this year than they are about the national debt, the fact that we're inviting millions of terrorists to come live in our country. You know, they're concerned about nonsense, and they've just checked out of reality. Reality, they don't even deal with that because it's too difficult. But because you care, because you're concerned about the future of our nation, about the future of your family, you know, what world am I leaving to my grandchildren? What is the world going to be like in 20 years if I don't step up and take care of business now? Well, that can drain you. You're going fourth and fifth gear constantly mentally, and you get drained. You get frustrated. You reach the point of burning out. Folks, every once in a while, you need to find some quiet space. Now, I learned the, I guess, art or the science or the method of meditation many years ago. I was probably 18, 19, and I practiced it on my, I read books and I practiced on my own, and then I actually went to a martial arts seminar, and we were guided by our instructors in the proper way of meditation. This is not for just granola-eating hippies. Like I said, the samurai meditated. And all you martial artists out there, you're nodding your head. You're like, yeah, no, dude, I know. And now how many of you martial artists out there have been taught and instructed and you just don't do it? And you're like, oh, yeah, you're right. I don't. You need to find time to clear your mind. Get back down into first gear and allow things to cool down for a little bit. Because if you go in fifth gear constantly, you're going to burn out. I don't want you guys to burn out. I want you to stay with me. Now, Jared, I'm going to go ahead and make sure your microphone's on, because sometimes I know that you turn it off so you can like make noise.
Fiddle around over here.
So you can fiddle around and people don't hear it, and then you forget to turn it back on. But you're on now. Riddle me this, Batman. When it was introduced, meditation was introduced to you, was it what you anticipated, or did you have a preconceived notion?
I didn't have a preconceived notion. I don't know. I never really thought about it before. You took me through it the first time, and I'd never really put that much thought into it. I hadn't listened to what other people said. The only preconceived notions that I had were the books that I had read, and which would be The Art of War, Musashi's book, The Book of Five Rings, stuff like that. So I knew that it was important, but I just didn't really put that much thought into it.
You didn't understand why.
Yeah.
All right, and before we go one second further, I want all of you people out there, when I started meditating, my mother thought that it was like the road to devil worship or something, or paganism. It's not. It's not paganism. It's not devil worship. It's actually, I believe wholeheartedly that if you are a Christian, you even need to even more.
You can strengthen your relationship with God through meditation.
You can. You absolutely can. And the reason that people think that is because meditation is tied in with Eastern philosophy, yoga and Hinduism and Buddhism and so forth. But
why do people have a misconception that's just, I don't know, why is that, like, for instance, yoga? People are like, oh, that's like the road to the devil.
Didn't someone say that recently? Like they wrote it or posted or something. It was some kind of you're going to be a devil worshiping pagan if you do that. Yeah. It's like, do you not believe that Yahweh, that God wants you to have a healthy body? Your body is your temple, is it not? If you're a Christian, you should believe that your body is your temple and it is a gift from God. Do you not think that God wants you to strengthen your body and your mind and to keep it healthy? I think so. I mean, I think if you could talk with the Almighty would say, yeah, I gave you that body and that mind, and it'd be kind of great if you'd take care of it, if you'd feed it right and exercise it and, exercise your mind. I think that would be great. Or do you think that Yahweh wants you to just sit around stuffing your face full of Cheetos and watching MTV?
I like Cheetos.
Cheetos are the devil.
I don't know if I like
Cheetos are the devil.
Or Cheesy Poofs.
Cheesy
better.
Poofs.
I'm not really sure.
I don't know.
But let me take this one step further. The quiet time segment here. Meditation for peace. I was listening to the Warrior on Fire podcast the other day. It was the other morning, and one very good point that he brought up and that he likes to drive home to people is what do you do within the first hour of waking up? Do you look on social media and fill your brain with negative thoughts? What do you do? And he basically recommended, he calls it his power hour, and he recommends that you work out, you meditate, and there was something else that I don't remember what it is right now, but you guys can go listen to it. And
walk,
but basically,
exercise,
work out,
study, read,
meditate, probably. Yeah, study scripture. That's what it was. Work out, meditate, study scripture, and that's his power hour. He does those three things in the morning before he does anything else. And he said that has boosted his confidence to get through the day without any distractions
and productivity as well.
Yeah.
That is something. If you can muster it, one of the things that I used to love doing, and when I say meditation, it doesn't have to be necessarily going into a yoga studio with the jammies on and folding your legs and playing the music. It could literally be going out and sitting quietly by the water.
Yeah.
One of the nicest things that I've done is the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino here in Biloxi is right on the ocean. And they have a beautiful pool deck. And the great thing about that time of day, if you get up, if you actually wake yourself up and get down and grab some coffee by 8 a.m., you go out to the pool deck and it's dead. It's empty. They're not even playing music yet. It's very calm. It's very serene. And you just sit for half an hour of quiet reflection. Give yourself that time. That's what I'm telling you right now. This is your takeaway from quiet time this week. Give yourself the gift of calm. Are you worth it? Do you believe that you warrant it, that you rate that quiet time? Let's face it, if you're a parent, you're a boss, you're a job, you have a job, you're a supervisor, you've got a lot of responsibilities in your life, you need to make sure that this happens, that happens, these people get here, these people get there. If you're a mom, you're basically a chauffeur, you're like, well, we got to go here, then come back again, then eat, then go, and then go, and then go. You never have a moment of quiet reflection for yourself. And you need to do that or you're going to lose your ever-loving mind. So I want you, as your goal, just take that time for yourself. Do it. And I think within a couple of days, you'll feel much better for it.
If you guys need guided meditation, there's this thing that I don't know if they have a mobile app yet, but they're working on it. If you go to Brain, BRAIN.FM, there's a little thing where you have to fill out your your brain profile and stuff where you answer a couple questions, and it basically, I use that for my focus when I am in my office, and I also use it for my meditation, because you can do an unguided meditation where it just plays music, or you can do a guided meditation where it kind of walks you through it. So if you're new, you can do that for the first few times. Yeah.
Sometimes you need the voice.
Yeah, give you something to focus on until you can just meditate in quiet by yourself. And it's rather difficult. The first couple times I did it, I found myself, I would latch on to a thought and I would keep thinking about it rather than just let it pass through. And it's rather difficult to make yourself let that thought pass and just let it go.
It's exercise for your brain. It really is. All right, Jared, thank you very much. And we hope you enjoyed today's show. If you didn't, like I said, P.O. Box 405, self-addressed stamped envelope. Now, tomorrow we're going to continue with our Student of the Gun University Special Edition, and we're going to talk more about the art of war. In addition to that, tomorrow is Wednesday, so Jared is going to have a fitness talk for you.
We've got one of you guys that called into the Warrior of the Week line. We've got a fitness question in there, so I'm going to deal with that tomorrow on the fitness
All right,
talk.
Remember, until we're together again, you need to understand, and you should always be a beginner once, but a student for life.